Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield, and I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. Today we're going to be in the book of Exodus, and we're going to be in chapter 16. I want to read for you quite a bit of that chapter, and let me just quickly set the scene for you. So, the people of Israel, God's people, have been led out of Egypt, and they have escaped Pharaoh and his chasing army. And as they were led to the Red Sea, God parted the sea, and Moses and Aaron led them through on dry land because of God's miraculous rescue. And so they are on the other side of the Red Sea, and they're beginning their 40-year journey in the desert to the promised land. And they get to chapter 16, and guess what? People are getting hungry. And when people get hungry, they get a little bit angry. Sometimes we call it hangry, right? So this is the scene we enter as we get to chapter 16. I'm going to read 30 verses for you, and then we're going to boil this down to one main principle today as we read from verses 1 through 30. Here's what it says. It says, they set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the people of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day, the second month, after they had departed from the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. They're getting hungry. Verse 3, and the people of Israel said to them, Would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full, for you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Verse 4, then the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I am about to rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. On the sixth day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather daily. So Moses and Aaron said to all the people of Israel, At evening you shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling against the Lord. For what are we, that you grumble against us? And Moses said, When the Lord gives you in the evening meat to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, because the Lord has heard your grumbling, that you grumble against him, what are we? Your grumbling is not against us, but it is against the Lord. Verse 9. Then Moses said to Aaron, Say to the whole congregation of the people of Israel, Come near before the Lord, for he has heard your grumbling. And as soon as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the people of Israel, they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. And the Lord said to Moses, I have heard the grumbling of the people of Israel. Say to them, At twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. Then they shall know that I am the Lord your God. In the evening, quail came up and covered the camp. In the morning, dew lay around the camp. And when the dew had gone up, there was on the face of the wilderness a fine flake-like thing, fine as frost on the ground. And when the people of Israel saw it, they said to one another, What is it? For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, It is the bread that the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Gather of it, each one of you, as much as he can eat. You shall each take an omer, according to the number of the persons that each of you has in his tent. And the people of Israel did so. They gathered some more, some less. But when they measured it with an omer, whoever gathered much had nothing left over, and whoever gathered little had no lack. Each of them gathered as much as he could eat. Talk about daily bread, right? Lord, give us our daily bread. Verse 19, and Moses said to them, Let no one leave any of it over till the morning. But they did not listen to Moses. Some left part of it till the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was angry with them. Morning by morning they gathered it, each as much as he could eat. But when the sun grew hot, it melted. Verse 22. On the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers each. And when all the leaders of the congregation came and told Moses, he said to them, This is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake, and boil what you will boil, and all that is left over lay aside to be kept till the morning. So they laid it aside till the morning, as Moses commanded them, and it did not stink, and there were no worms in it. Moses said, Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh, which is a Sabbath, there will be none. Verse 27, on the seventh day, some of the people went out to gather, but they found none. It's like Moses told them, right? And the Lord said to Moses, How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the sixth day, he gives you bread for 2 days. Remain each of you in his place. Then no one go out of his place on the seventh day. Verse 30, so the people rested on the seventh day. Oh, man. I read these stories in the Old Testament, and particularly with the people of Israel. It is so easy to point the finger and laugh at them and think, how foolish. And yet, if I'm honest, I go, man, Matt, if you were back then, and if you were one of those people, you would have done all the same things. You would have tried to keep more bread and more birds to feed your family than you should have. You would have taken more than you needed. You would have gone out on the Sabbath and tried to gather. I certainly would have tried to do all those things. It's just my instincts, right? And maybe you're the same way. And so it's easy to point the finger at these folks and laugh and say, well, what were you doing? And at the same time, it's great and wonderful to see the hand of the Lord and His provision and His kindness and His mercy, right? I mean, He could have just zapped these people, but He chose, I'm going to continue to keep my promise. I'm going to continue to keep my covenant, and I'm going to continue to test them and ask them to trust me. And that's really the question we continue to see rise out of this scene, is this question of God asking these people of Israel, will you trust me? Will you trust me? Will you trust me? And isn't that the question that really God does ask us each and every day as we wake up, as we get out of bed? Matt, Jim, Lucy, Susie, whoever you are, will you trust me today? For whatever you have going on in life, will you trust me? I came across this quote this week about trusting in God, and I just found it so appropriate to share with you today. It's from Ken Sandy. He wrote this. He said, trust in God does not mean believing He will do what you want, but rather believing He will do everything He knows is good. I love that. If we trust God, it doesn't mean we're going to get everything that we want. That's not what trusting God is. But rather, we're trusting Him, we're believing that He's going to do everything that He knows is good. And it turns out, He knows what's good better than we know what is good. Amen? Well, friends, have a great day. And as best as you can, as God tests you to trust Him with everything. Take care. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.